What is up, as a figure hunter? Today we have with us the Suunto Vertical. So this review is not a comprehensive review, but it's just an initial first takes type of hands-on look at the watch, as well as my initial reactions on some of the components and how they function, how the first workout went. So we're going to look at the ins and outs of just looking at the watch. We're going to actually look at it compared to the Tactic 7, compared to the Apex 2 Pro on the Coros brand. And we're just going to sort of get a feel for the size, the weight, the dimensions, as well as what I love and don't like so far about using the watch, as well as using the app, as well as the first workout results. So with that, let's dive in and get it underway. All right, so here you have the Suunto Vertical. So you can just sort of appreciate and see the overall design features. We're going to talk about sort of the broad set of basics in a second. I just want you to sort of see the overall design. It does have a solid weight to it. The band feels nice and soft. And you can see it does sit up, and we'll compare it to a couple of others. Now, let's just do that now. We're going to compare it to a couple of others. So we have the Tactic 7, which is like a similar model to the to the Phoenix 7X. And then you have the Coros Apex 2 Pro, which is, similar to, I guess, itself. So you can see the casing sizes. So here in the middle, we have 49 millimeters. That's how far. That's a measurement. Here you have 51. Here you have 46 or 7 or something like that. So as far as thicknesses go, the Tactic 7 is actually 16 millimeters, but you can actually almost see it. The Suunto Vertical is 15.5 millimeters, regardless of what it says on the website. And the Coros Apex 2 is actually 15.6. It's got the band under it now, so it looks taller. But between these two, you actually will see that it's, there's a similarity there, So, you actually get a little bit more lift because the lugs come down. So you can see it actually creates an arch between. So it's a thicker watch, and it is actually thicker because of how it's designed. It's sort of got like this Oreo, I guess, as DC calls it. When you look at weights, it has got some serious weight to it. So it is 67 grams, and that's just the watch. If you add the band, it's 86 grams. If you compare that, so just the watch, 67 grams. How does it compare to the Tactic 7? This is 60 grams. And then if you roll all the way down to Apex 2, this is 45 grams. So you're talking a pretty heavy watch. So it's not light, but it's actually not horrific when you actually wear it on the wrist. But, some of those things will affect the quality of the heart rate, accuracy in time. So again, 60, 67, 45 when you're just looking at the watch. If you go to the titanium version, it drops down to 55 approximately. So it goes from 67 to 55. That's 12. That's about 18% lighter when you go to the titanium version. One thing that's interesting is when you look at the back, I swear I thought, like, this is like an all steel body, or the casing or the back, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't have pieces except for like right here, but it's not a plate. And let's take a look at what the website says. And what's crazy is if you look at the specifications under case material for either the titanium or the stainless steel, it's listed here as glass fiber reinforced polyamide. So neither case, whether you're paying more for the titanium or just getting the stainless steel, has any difference in the case material. It's some sort of glass fiber reinforced polyamide. And there you see it. It's actually not metal. It's a glass reinforced whatever, but it's actually only the bezel that has either stainless steel or titanium. So you're not getting any extra titanium on the titanium version. So this is all going to be the same glass, whatever, reinforced. It is really cool. I mean, I really like it because it feels like a metal body, like a metal casing. It just feels really cool, but that's what adds the extra weight. So what do I like and don't like about it so far when it comes to actually using the device? So what do I love? I love the casing. I love the design and the style. I actually love the band because it's nice and soft, but I just really love that they put this little clasp on here. So it just locks onto itself. It's worked great so far. I think that is really cool. I love that the buttons are like a solid press. Like, it is just like, these are buttons with girth, like buttons with like solidity to them. I love that the notifications are clear. So if you have a notification, it comes in crystal clear. You can see it, not hard to read. Like whereas the Apex 2, I just, they had the same white backdrop, black text, and I couldn't read it. Here you can read it just fine. And I love that if you actually hold if you hold this, you go, it's like your back button, but it's also your settings button. So if you wanted to see that again, you basically would hold this and it starts tracking the settings. That's really cool. Little tidbit, like the battery light, the backlight you can change. So one thing you should know is this little standby mode. This just means a dimly lit backlight all the time. So if you wait a second, it'll dim down, and it actually just keeps an illumination, like a mild illumination at all times. So this has got a little bit of a brightness to it, and I actually really like that because that means on a transflective watch, you can see it no matter what the lighting conditions are. So what do I not like about this? I do think that it's got such a tall bezel. The thickness is the same as other watches, but it's so tall. On the notifications specifically, you get them in the workout whether you like them or not, and I get a lot of notifications, and that drives me crazy. The buttons, they are great, but they are actually harder to press. They're like a seriously press because it is like it's going to last like 500 years type press. Obviously, as we've seen in other videos, it's not showing it as much now, but there's definitive lag. That's a drag. I hate that you have to long hold this. So like if you are deep into a settings menu, you have to long hold this just to go back one level. But it is nice that you can just swipe left to get back to one menu before. The order of the sports, whatever reason, this is unchangeable. So when you add a sport, it's going to populate on the first, and that's nice. But you can't change the order of these, and not that I could find. That makes no sense. And the other additional thing is the order of this bottom menu. What if I want to like completely change the order of these things? Well, that's not an option that I could find. And the last thing that's not that great is the watch faces. There are just not that many options. There's not a great set of options. So let's look at the app. All right, so likes and don't likes about the app. We're just going to keep this kind of simple. So I like the simplicity of it. I definitely like the overall training load calculation from Training Peaks, and it gives you 4 primary directions. You can see a general snapshot of your acute training, last 7 days of training load, acute training load, ATL, and chronic training load, and your form, which is whether you're pulling yourself fitter or not. I think, some of these features, like whether it's going to be quality, we'll have to see down the road. Like the resources, that looks a little bit one-dimensional of a chart, but I like that it has basic things. I like that if you use a cross-training app, you're going to actually approach sport profile. You're going to get a picture of a CrossFit gym, which I think is awesome. One of the things that's huge, and at least to me, you get the epoch, which is like your training load, 127, and you get your PTE, which is basically your evaluation, somewhat like Garmin's aerobic training effect, whether you're pushing yourself harder or not. I think those are 2 fantastic metrics. And the training stress score, which obviously flows into Training Peaks. And then I like on the heart rate graph that you get your temperature over time. So a lot of really positive things there. And then what do I not like? So I don't like on the cross training or like on the sports activities, like you can't adjust your heart rate zones, or at least in my settings, I could not change my max heart rate to fix or change my heart rate zones, which was, I don't know if that's just me. The recovery time, 20 hours. This was half Murph. This was definitely not a 20-hour recovery. It always is about half the time of other watches. So I think the recovery time is not good. And then when you go into adjust sports profiles, like sports mode customization, you see in the middle there, this is not the easiest because it's really slow. So let's say first it says create profiles. Let's say we create, let's say basketball. Each sport profile has given a limited number of choices. So you can't add another screen that I have found. So if I want to have 15 widgets or 15 data pages, I haven't figured out how to do it. So again, you save it here. And so it's a little bit, because you can only save a certain number of data fields, and then you add it. And if you want to delete it, for whatever reason, if you look at the time of delayed to delete this one activity, it's a long time because it's updating the watch as it's doing it. It's still doing it. That's just problematic. It's just, you know, changing and tweaking your sports profiles, adding extra data pages. That should be a regular thing. So those are the things I like. Just a small little suggestion for tweaks. So when you scroll to the left, which is like you're going to the right widgets, you get one set. And so you want to put your most actively used at the top and the bottom, so that if you wanted just to see notifications, you could scroll the opposite direction from the watch face to be able to see the other notifications. So that's my likes and dislikes so far with the app. All right, so here we see the first heart rate graph. You can see that it basically kept up pretty well through most of the workout, really matching the chest strap, which is in purple, and the Suunto vertical in blue. So you can see that it had, didn't quite hit the peaks at the end of the workout and missed one of the lifting portions. And then these all correlate to the correlation graph, which we can see start to evolve at the first coefficient of correlation at 0.87 to determine the overall true direct comparison to a chest strap. So there you have it. So that's actually, I mean, in simple terms, I really am liking the workout analysis, and it obviously flows through to Training Peaks. I'm liking the overall experience, but it's not without its little hiccups. So we're going to have to test this over time. We're obviously going to put the heart rate sensor to the test when it comes to tracking CrossFit workouts, when it just, how well it can keep up standalone, just to give a full analysis there. And then we're going to just do a comprehensive analysis on the use of the watch over a multiple of weeks to see how does it fare compared to a Coros Apex 2, compared to a Garmin Tactix 7 or Fenix 7X. So with that, that's the initial take on the Suunto Vertical. It's the Fit Gear Hunter. Thanks so much for watching.